The question my colleagues and I continue to contemplate is, what if teachers were in the position to drive change in public education? And what if trusting teachers, not controlling them, is the key to school success? We searched the nation to find and study schools where teachers are trusted, and our findings are now published in this book. It's Trusting Teachers with School Success: What Happens When Teachers Call the Shots. As Adam said, I'm Kim Ferris-Berg. I'm an independent consultant. For this project, I worked as a senior associate with Education Evolving. And if you want to contact me after today, I welcome it. I'm at Ferris-Berg. That's my Twitter handle. Or you can get me at kim@educationevolving.org. And I also want to invite you to a web community supporting teachers who call the shots. It's at www.trustingteachers.org. This is a place where teachers who are already calling the shots or who are thinking about calling the shots are coming. There's some 70 of them there, and also people who support them there, such as union leaders and superintendents or school board members. And they're all talking about how things already work, or people who are investigating come and say, where should I start? And it's a good place to get those kind of questions out and answered. So we've all seen headlines like these. Today's most dominant ideas in education policy tend to characterize school quality as a function of how well we're doing at controlling teachers. We are attempting to manage school quality from the top down by telling teachers what to do and how to do it. You guys all gave examples of this morning. Those in power are standardizing curricula. They're requiring adherence to pacing guides. They're tightening licensure requirements, offering merit pay, tying school and teacher evaluations to singular measures of student performance. The idea seems to be that if we can just get tough with teachers and eliminate any variance in the experience for students, that all will be well with K-12 schools. Now we've seen these headlines too. Teachers are resisting the get tough strategy. And those who are advancing the get tough strategy have at times characterized teachers' resistance as a sign of their lack of willingness to accept accountability. Now my colleagues and I found something very different. We found that teachers are not opposed to the idea of accepting accountability. They are opposed to the idea of accepting accountability for the results of decisions which they do not and cannot make. So we set out to investigate what might happen if policymakers and educators started advancing a second strategy running alongside this now predominant get tough strategy. And the second strategy would combine any expectations for accountability with real authority for the teachers who seek it. So we have learned that amidst all the ramping up of control, some teachers and administrators and policymakers are quietly advancing an innovative design alternative for the structuring and managing of schools. In all of these cases, all these pin drops up there, teachers have asked for and received authority to collectively, as a group in their school, make the decisions influencing whole school success. So today there are more than 50 K-12 public schools run by teacher groups with this authority. Arrangements for teacher autonomy have appeared in district and chartered schools. Some have union-affiliated teachers and others do not. There are schools with teacher autonomy in urban and rural and suburban environments. They're all across the US, and they're serving students from preschool all the way to age 21. Now, my colleagues and I studied the cultures and designs in 11 of these schools, and with all the demographics I just described, and here's a quick summary of our findings. Teachers in these schools told us over and over again that the autonomy heightens their sense of accountability to their colleagues and their students and their schools. And the mix of autonomy and accountability mobilizes their energy toward change and improvement. Now, before I get into the specifics about what happens when teachers call the shots, it's important to share with you how we defined autonomy for this book. Because teacher autonomy has come to be associated with teachers having authority in their classroom. And that's often to implement curriculum that someone else chose. That's not what we're talking about. And the words teacher-led school, that's often affiliated with things like PLCs, or professional learning communities, or site-based management. And I'm not poo-pooing those ideas. I think those are great ideas, they're advancements forward. They acknowledge teachers' input in their classroom is important. They acknowledge teachers' input is important at the school level. They acknowledge teachers' partial authority in their classroom is important. But they also sort of fail to contemplate that any changes teachers want to make might be outside the conventional concept of school. So what we're talking about is different than that. We're talking about teachers having authority to make decisions as a group influencing their whole school success. So that means they can choose to break from convention if they want, because they have autonomy in one or more of these 10 areas. So selecting colleagues, transferring and or terminating colleagues, evaluating colleagues, setting staff pattern, selecting leaders, determining budget, determining the salaries and benefits of colleagues, including the leaders, determining learning program and learning materials, setting the schedule, and setting school level policies. Now, we found that teachers' levels of autonomy vary in 2 ways. First, teachers have autonomy in varying combinations of these 10 possible areas. We looked at 11 of the 50 schools, and according to teachers' reports, teachers in 4 of those 11 schools had full autonomy in all 10 of those areas. And then the teachers in the remaining 7 had a mix of full and partial autonomy in an average of 7.71 out of these 10 areas. So teachers also have varying arrangements by which they are granted or by which they secure autonomy. And we've learned that the kind of autonomy arrangement that teachers choose or receive can affect each individual area of autonomy, determining whether it is full or partial or formal or informal. So in other words, this is not an all or nothing package of autonomy. When you're thinking about it, you can think about it that each of those autonomies is negotiable in its own right.